All right. Well, thank you so much, Dr. Phelps. I really appreciate you taking some time to hang with us today and share a little bit.
It's great and really enjoy it. And by the way, your production team, this is way better than watching like CNN or MSNBC. way better content. So big thumbs up for me. I'm going to start tuning in on a regular basis. I love the way you got it formatted. Really, really well done.
Well, that's fantastic. Well, Eddie, I know you had some things you wanted to make sure we covered. Obviously, I saw Shelly in the comments saying always evolving, kind of quoting Dr. Phelps here. And so it's there's a lot of good nuggets we want to kind of dig into as people are adding comments and stuff. So I'll kind of let you you start it off, Mr. Speed.
Well, one of the things that David talks about in the book, and I think everybody's really going to enjoy reading and digging into, but I thought it would be of value for him to talk about it a little bit more, is these freedom assets, these 5 freedom assets you mentioned. And, obviously, David, those things are, to me, they as I look at your path, I think they define your path. Mm-hmm. How'd you figure this out?
Well, I didn't have it figured out at the beginning of anything at all. I mean, this is, we all have a story. We all go through life, and as we age up, we have more experiences, right? More gray hair equals more experiences. So when you look back at your experiences in life and you start to see kind of what moved the needle this way, that way, it wasn't my big plan, but as I look back and looked at what were some of the key, and that's why I call them freedom assets. What were the key things that I did? And I put them in a framework of 5 keys that as I look back in my life, these were the significant areas, and they didn't all happen at once. I mean, and I don't think you can put the same amount of emphasis on all 5 at the same time. You should. It's not a ladder where you do one and the second one, third one, fourth one, fifth one, and the 5th one being legacy. I think again, you can be doing and should be. We're looking all 5, but maybe there's more of a concentration on 1 or 2 than the other. So that's part of your blueprint. Your personal blueprint is figuring that out. But I had to put all 5 in the book because as I look back, they all were part of me getting through the ups and downs and twists and turns of the lives we live as entrepreneurs, as people that want more control of our lives. But with that control comes responsibility. It also requires us to be willing to test. Not get too comfortable in life, not just feel like the status quo is good enough, because that's not who we are. And so not being afraid to test some things and not being afraid of, quote, failure, because I don't think failure should ever be a word that we really hang our hat on. Failure is something that teaches us great lessons if we're willing to look at them and then use those. So that's the 5 freedoms. So we can go down the order there and talk about those in a little bit more detail if you'd like.
Yeah, let's do that. Invest in yourself.
So we all know that we should be our primary best asset. Ourselves, that's an asset that no one can take away from us. The government can't come tax us out of us. They can't put restriction or regulations on the way we think in our knowledge-based experience. So that's an asset that you can rely on as long as you're breathing. And so we typically think about investment ourselves as formal education, and that is a piece of it. Going to school, and if you decide to go on to higher levels of learning, there's an investment there. And I'm not saying again that's wrong. Just do it with purpose. Do it with purpose. But I believe that on the other side of the formal education, whatever your degree is, your license, your certificate, there's the other side, which I call, well, I don't just call it. It's out there. It's self-education. Jim Rohn, one of the great thought leaders for decades, who's no longer with us, but Jim Rohn often said that formal education will provide a living for you. Self-education will provide, I don't want to mess it up, like wealth, like abundance. So self-education is something that you never stop doing. That whatever your degree or position in life is, whatever you've achieved in terms of formal education, the self-education is something that lets you just keep building. And there may not be any certificates with that. The certificate is the fact that you are allowing yourself to build more adaptability and flexibility into your life and have that opportunity to go to your next, whether you're looking for it or you need to move to it, like I did. Without having the flexibility, you're kind of stuck and you think, well, this is all I can do. This is what I trained to do. I have to do this. And if that's not working out, then like, do you like go back to formal school again? Well, you can, but I think there's so many better ways to move yourself and adapt from where you are today based on the goals and vision you have for your life. So what I'm saying to people that are with us today is wherever you are, don't feel like you're stuck. And because this has been your chosen business or profession or career, that it's all you got. It's not. It's a piece. It's a piece of it. So self-education is very, very important. So that's the number one. Number two is invest in your business. Now, some people may be still in a position where they're working for other people, working hopefully with a great company or something you enjoy. Even if you don't own a business that's your primary, you can have a secondary business. It's what you do at NoteSchool so well. You help people who have primary businesses and interests get into a business that involves real estate, and really on a basis that's different than most people think about real estate.
Yes.
You don't have to be a realtor. You don't have to out there go list houses. There's a place to be. So you can have your own business outside of a primary business, or if you're working for somebody else. So focusing on that separate business or your primary business and creating a real business that doesn't require you to show up every day and trade time for dollars. Maybe you do it first, and then maybe over time you build the business and have other people and systems and processes in place that now start to give you some freedom of what we really want in life is time. So that's number two, invest in your business. Number three is invest in relationships. I say your network is your net worth. Going back to Jim Rohn, who I mentioned a minute ago, he says you become the average of the 5 people with whom you most associate. And I think that's really true. If you want to up your game, meaning up your knowledge base, your experience, your options in life, then look around to see who you spend the most time with. And if you're not spending time with people who challenge you, who you definitely feel like have gone further down the path towards freedom than you have, that you respect because they live a life of integrity and values, you've got to put yourself in those places with those people. Don't stay stagnant in one group. Even if the people around you are good people, that's fine, but you've got to be challenged. Relationships are everything. We talked about earlier on the show, Eddie, that you and I have known each other for a number of years, and we spent time in each other's world and family and business at different places over time. Well, we do that with lots of people, and that ability to leverage in a mutually beneficial way other people's expertise and time and connections, experience, skill sets. It's the best. I mean, you can't just do everything on your life solo. You try to do that and you're going to hit a ceiling, and it's going to be frustrating because you feel like, how come I can't break through? Well, you haven't learned how to really develop collaborative relationships. And we weren't built to do that. Most of us, we were built, well, Eddie, you're a rodeo star back in the day. Who was there helping you when it was time to get out there and ride that bucking bronco? Was there someone there to hold your hand? Well, maybe when you were a little kid, but not as an adult. You had to do it by yourself. You had to train. You had to do the hard work. Okay, that's good. But to build a business or collaboration, you got to do it with other people. I mean, and that's what you've done at NoteSchool. I mean, I've watched you through the years. Your relationships with the people who have been near and dear to you, even people from the past, they always come back, and there's always like good feelings there. See, that's a skill set that anybody can achieve, but sometimes some of us have to work at it harder. And I say I'm an introvert. I have to work harder at that, but it's worth the time and effort to find those right people in your life, because you'll never regret having made great relationships in your life. Never regret that. So that's number 3. Number 4, invest in your capital base. So now we're outside the primary business, right? Or the primary job. Now we have capital. We've been good stewards of our money. We don't spend beyond our means. Now we take money, we've saved some after taxes, and now this is going to be my passive investments. I'm not going to be involved directly in running those investments, but I want to find a place to put them. So learning how to make your money work for you, at least as hard as you work for it, which most people abdicate that. Unfortunately, most people listen to the world of Wall Street. Wall Street says, hey, David, we want to save money on your taxes? Come over here. I got just a thing for you. I got this thing called 401k. Baby, go to town. Now, I'm not against retirement plans, okay? But I'm saying have a retirement plan that you can self-direct. And that's the problem that most people, they put on Wall Street, where they have no access to the decision-making of that. It's with a money manager, a fiduciary who gives maybe a few menu items of things you can pick on Wall Street. I don't particularly care for Wall Street. My history is in tangible assets, real estate. Yeah. So if I've got a retirement plan, I'm going to make sure I can self-direct it so I can put it in the kind of assets that I believe in and I have some control over, even on a passive basis. So that's number 4, invest in your capital. Number 5, investing in your legacy. Why is that important? People think about their legacy as something that they're going to leave to people at the end of life. Typically, it's about what? Wealth and money and trust funds and whatever you want to do. And that's fine. That's fine. But I think it's a lot better to think about what we can leave in people versus what we leave to them. You can do both. But what do you leave in them? So what are you teaching people that you care about? The generations to come up, your children, your grandchildren, your nieces, your nephews, people in your tribe, their sons and daughters. What are we leaving in them today? And not just when we're at the end of our life. So how are you sowing into other people's life? We've got to be doing that all along. And again, sometimes we're working more on ourselves in our business to get ourselves freer. It's like, put your oxygen mask on first. I'm a believer in that. But once you have yours on and secure and you're sucking the oxygen, now help other people get theirs on. And that's legacy. That's impact. Start doing it now. You're living your legacy today, every day, not just at the end with your will and your estate planning.
Man, that is some rock solid stuff. So, by the way, for those of you that may have checked in late, this is about Dr. David Phelps' brand new book, What's Your Next? And you will see the link here in the thread on Amazon. You can order it. It just was launched literally yesterday. And so we are so excited to have Dr. Phelps and really sharing with us a path that I personally know that everything he's talking about in that book, he's lived it and done it. And he and I kind of laughed that we've seen each other at spots in our life when things weren't really that good, or there were certainly rocks in the road. And he talks about that so well in the book and like how to push past that. So, Joe, Brian,
I have a question, Eddie.
Yeah,
I have a real quick, something that you said, and I was like caught off guard for a second. You talked about, was it a sacrifice period or was it a sacrifice time? Can you just say that one more time? Because I was trying to make the notes on it because I'm in here taking notes as well, right?
Yeah. So Joe, unless we were the beneficiaries of some big wealth transfer from, an inheritance,
Right.
then there's a sacrifice period. We all have to do some manual labor. We have to go to school. We have to get training, right? We have to do that and investing in ourselves, as talked about first and foremost. So, but the problem is most people, all they do to improve their situation, it's linear growth. So what does that mean? Well, so you get into your life and your business, your career, and you add improvement to it by, again, investing in continuing education and maybe you add some more efficiencies to the things that you do in providing service or product. Those will provide you linear improvement. But we're still in a position when we're doing that, we're still trading time for dollars. And I think we're still potentially, most people are still sacrificing a lot of the things they'd really want to have in life, which is probably, again, coming back to time to spend it with other people, or maybe it's their hobbies or passions, which most people say, well, that's not the way it's supposed to be in life. You're supposed to, go to school, get a job, get a career, get a business, and work that baby. You work, meaning the key words, you work till you're at retirement age, 60, 65. Some people are going to 70 because they kind of have to. And then when I get there to retirement, then I'm going to enjoy the fruits of my labor. Then we're going to travel and I'm going to spend time with the family and all these great things. And the problem, guys, is that mystical someday most time doesn't show up because something happens. Yeah. Something happens to somebody or somebody's health or some situation. And those great things you were going to do, they don't happen. So my point is there is a sacrifice period. You don't just launch out and go out and have some magnificent business where you show up one day a week and the money is just coming in. Nope. You got to pay the price. You've got to do the work. You got to have the relationships. You got to be in mastermind groups where you're learning from other people. But as quickly as you can start transferring from your need to trade time for dollars on a basis more than you want to do, that's where you start to find freedom. And I don't mean you have to be at a point where you just go lay on a hammock on the beach, because I'd get bored stiff after about 4 hours of that, and I'd be, burned. It's like, no, I want to be doing something. So when you're not in a need position where you have to make a certain amount of money every month, which is where we all start, not taking away. That's the sacrifice period. Move the needle beyond that as quickly as possible. And the way you do that is you got to be with other people who have already made that move, so that you're not sitting back and going, well, that could never work for me. That they were just lucky. It just somehow happened. No. Nobody's lucky who had to work for anything. Everybody has a story. We've all gone through ups and downs and challenges in life. And that's part of the journey. That's part of where opportunity lies, because on the other side of adversity, I've always seen opportunity. It just wasn't fun getting there, is it, Eddie? Sometimes.
You know,
Thank you, David.
Yeah, it's absolutely true that we don't know what we don't know, and we haven't seen what we haven't seen. And I think the environments that you're talking about, David, is where we get exposed to things that otherwise we didn't know, right? I am shocked and amazed at sometimes I get to teach people that are excessively smarter than me, but I was taught a mindset 40 years ago by my father-in-law. And I just share what I was taught, and now I hopefully live part of that. And then I see people like Dr. Phelps live it. And so it's just a mindset. And once again, environment is everything. So Brian, any last questions before we leave?
I wouldn't say it's a question, but I would say that for a lot of us, we hear things like Dr. Phelps was just talking about. We feel a little inspired, but we're not sure what that next step is. And so I wanted to just encourage you that one of the things he started with was investing in yourself. And so one of the first steps that you can do if you're looking for a next step is simply go to Amazon and buy this book. Start reading it. Start trying to pick up the wisdom and the knowledge that's in it so that you can continue that journey. So go to Amazon. What's your next? Thank you so much, Dr. Phelps, for spending some time with us. That's going to wrap us up for this week's episode of NoteSchool TV. We'll plan on seeing everyone next Wednesday at 11 a.m. Central Time.